let's go ahead and get into the 5 top stories for the week. And man, we are starting off on quite a doozy because this week meant the end of employment for a lot of peoples for 2 pretty substantial studios. One being TellTale Games and the other one being Capcom Vancouver. So first and foremost, TellTale Games, man, they laid off just about all of their staff. I think except for like 25 people.
Yeah, they kept 25 people on to finish a couple of projects they have. They said they wanted to what did they say? They wanted to
complete their obligations to their stockholders,
partners. Yeah.
Stockholders and partners.
Right. So
yeah.
I guess there's a couple of a project or two that they only need a few people to finish off before they release it. It's just, I mean, it's been word that they've been struggling for a better part of like 2 years now. They've been in a struggle, and the word is that one, they had some issues with management, some mismanagement going on there, and then also they didn't innovate because while their games are good, they have a Game of Thrones, they have The Walking Dead, they had Batman, they had the Wolf Amongst Us. They were all good stories, but they were all the same thing, right?
And their most profitable and most well-known video game, the Walking Dead Telltale series. You can ask anybody. Like after the first like chapter or whatever, it was kind of just like a downhill spiral from then on. And they just released the final season of The Walking Dead. They just released the first episode or whatever,
right?
And they're not gonna finish it. This is supposed to be the final season. They're not gonna finish it.
Well, they did say season 2, the second episode was still coming.
Yeah, but not the rest.
Yeah, there's no word. They didn't say either way. I'm guessing that's what those 25 people left are working on. My guess is they're working on that.
Because I've read that the only other 2 projects that they're working on is the Minecraft story mode, and then one other thing.
Well, they had season 2 of A Wolf Amongst Us.
Is that coming? I don't know if that's coming.
We don't know. They didn't specify what projects were coming, what they were going to complete, or what they worked on. They said they will release more information coming up, but they said they had The Wolf Amongst Us. They had signed that deal with Netflix to do a Stranger Things game. Yeah. And they have the season 2. I think it was supposed to be 5 episodes for The Walking Dead season 2. And they did specifically say the second episode was coming, but they didn't say anything beyond the second episode of Walking Dead is up in the air.
Yeah, it's pretty much up in the air. And with only 25 people on staff, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to fulfill all of those obligations. No. They'll give the stockholders what they want to see, and then just close up shop apparently.
Right.
And it's sad to definitely see people out of a job, and there's been a lot of support for the people that have been laid off, with a lot of companies coming out publicly and saying that anybody from TellTale Games, you're looking for a job, where we have jobs open. You have people like Epic Games, you have Bluehole, the people behind PUBG, all types of companies coming out publicly and offering jobs to anybody that was laid off during this pretty hectic time for them, because it's rough out there, man. It's rough, and it's good to see companies coming in together and offering people, talented people, jobs, and hopefully these people can go forward and make games that that they want to make. They can actually innovate, because like you said, there was a lot of mismanagement over at TellTale Games, and that may have been the result of some of the products that we've seen out there.
Right, and a correction and an apology. We're right. They are not going to finish the Dead. They're only going to be working on the Minecraft story.
Yeah, the Minecraft story mode, and I think it was one other thing that I heard, because this has been buzzing for the last couple of days, and I looked into it, and I've never been a huge fan of the TellTale Games. I do have some of The Walking Dead on my hard drive because it was given away for free for Games for Gold,
and it was on PlayStation 2, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, so I do have some of the series, but I've never really been somebody that's been for the story driven quick time event game, and with the success of the TellTale games, we've seen other studios come and do it a lot better. Detroit Become Human, is highly regarded. A lot of people love the actual split in the story depending on your choices, and that's one thing that TellTale Games promised but never really fully delivered was the actual change in the story based on your decisions. And it sucks to see people lose their job, but it just happens. And now we're gonna move over to Capcom Vancouver, because
one last thing. The people that bought the season pass, they bought, I think it was $20. There's no word on getting the money back because they're not getting the game that they paid for.
No, they're not getting the full season. They're getting the first two episodes, and then that's it.
It's supposed to be 4 or 5? I think 4 episodes,
something like that.
Yeah. So they're only getting half of the game they paid for. So that's problematic as well.
Yeah. They're definitely gonna have to issue some refunds, which I assume is gonna be really rough since they had to let people go. I don't know if they got money just sitting in their back pocket to give refunds to people, but something's gonna have to give because that's not good.
It depends on how bankrupt they went. I mean, there's protections out there where it's like,
true.
They don't have the money. They don't have the money. What can you do?
But yeah, that sucks, man. Now let's go ahead and move over to Capcom Vancouver.
So they're closing the studio, and the closure is going to cost them $5 billion.
Oh, so
which is like $40 million.
Jeez.
So basically, they're closing the studio, and the costs with closing the studio, severance packages, and the insurances and all of that stuff is dollars, breaking the building or whatever else they go. But they just said, hey, look, it's gone. No more Capcom Vancouver, and Capcom Vancouver's claim to fame was Dead Rising.
Dead Rising has not been popping in a long time. I heard that
not since 2.
Yeah. They released the most recent one, Dead Rising 4, came out, and it was pretty much all but panned.
Right. Nobody liked it.
Nobody really liked it. Yeah.
And it was a timed exclusive for the Xbox. Came out on the PlayStation 4 like the last year. It just came out on PlayStation 4 this past holiday, if I remember right. All of the DLC and blah blah blah. But yeah, nobody. I never, me personally, I never thought Dead Rising was.
I never thought it was fun. I thought that Dead Rising 3 looked pretty cool, and it's actually available on Xbox Game Pass. I planned on giving it a shot, but they just weren't making any money, and so Capcom is just pulling the plug on them.
Yeah, I'm laughing because
the Mount Lover.
Yeah. I'm not,
THQ Nordic swooping in and stealing your IPs.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna let the IP go because they're basically all of their development to their studios in Japan.
Yeah, so
everything's gonna be worked out of Japan. Dead Rising will probably, if they decide to do something with it, they will. But yeah, apparently Monster Hunter so well, they're just sitting on a pile of money. We'll just close this now while we got the money, and not have to worry about it down the road. Yeah.
I don't think anybody would be able to actually take Dead Rising and do anything substantial with it. It has ties to a lot of Capcom video games. Frank, the guy Frank West or whatever, he's been in Marvel vs. Capcom, fighting games and all kinds of stuff, and they have the Mega Man references, and Capcom isn't going to give up that IP anytime soon.
They're going to keep the IP and the characters.
Yeah.
They're just not going... They're going to move development to Japan. If anything comes out...
It's going to come from Japan, so RIP TellTale Games and Capcom Vancouver. hopefully the people that were laid off will find success elsewhere. It's always sad to see things like this, but it's a part of it's the nature of the beast, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and jump into the next story that we have. And this was actually pretty interesting. We're jumping back into the wonderful world of Nintendo, which Boogie has proved to be a huge fan of, right?
Yes, I love Nintendo.
Okay, so when we talked about Nintendo last week, we talked about the Nintendo Switch Online service. Just recently in our update section, we talked about the NES style controller, being exclusive to the NES games. Well, now this story revolves around that because Switch Online, there's a Switch Online emulator, and it's been hacked.
Yeah, so it's basically what they're using to deliver NES games for the service, right?
Right.
Apparently, it's the same ROM that they use for the NES, and so they've had hackers or modders have had a year to circumvent and hack that ROM, and when they seen it switch, they just mess around with it, and yes, they can ROM swap. And if you look at the video, you see that they've got Battletoads right now. So it's very interesting. The gentleman, he selects what game does he select?
Mario Brothers? The Mario Bros, the first Mario Bros.
And it launches Battletoads.
Yep.
It's laughable in my opinion.
It is very laughable because Nintendo has gone leaps and bounds out of their way to prevent these kind of things, going after ROM sites, going after these these small websites and groups of people to try to preserve these types of classic games so that they can sell them to you, right? And you could just do what you want on the Switch. I mean, it's already been cracked.
Exactly.
Been cracked wide open.
The day of
2 days.
Not even the day. It was the day of. It was like 4 hours. That's something silly like that. So that's hilarious. And the funny thing is that,
what?
No, it's not the funny thing. But the thing is, it's not a security issue. Mm-hmm. And the modders or the guy, they're saying that is they think they did it this way. They set up the system in a manner they set it up so they can easily swap games in and out. Because Nintendo has always said that the games would change.
Right. They would add games, they would take games away, and whatever. So you could do it yourself.
It seems like they may have did it so they can swaps, and that allows anybody else to easily do swaps. And the thing is, I went through. There's a in article, and I don't advocate for this, but there's a link in the article that shows you how to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you are medium technically able, it takes maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If even to set your Switch up to be able to do this. Good job, Nintendo.
Yeah, good job, Nintendo, because you've gone completely out of your way to tear down these types of things, and in every instance, you've just been one-upped by the hacking community. I mean, dude, every single Nintendo console has proven to be the easiest to crack, within days. I mean, we talked about the unavoidable or the unfixable exploit with the Nintendo Switch, that would have to be fixed with a new version of the Switch. They just can't fix it. It's ridiculous, and it just goes to show that these things just needed a little bit more time in the oven, and it proves why the Nintendo Switch is a very inferior console compared to the competition.
Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and again, we rail on Nintendo quite often here, so I don't want to go too far into it. But we'll have to see. We'll wait and see what Nintendo's response is. I don't think any amount of reporting people is going to fix this problem.
No. I don't even know if they can.
Yeah,
it's people going to just be loading ROMs on their Switch. Because basically what they did is they put the the basically the emulation OS on the Switch, which is something that most people weren't able to get on their own. Now it's there, so all you have to do now is load your ROMs. And as much as Nintendo wants to knock down those sites, I mean that's playing whack-a-mole. Once the ROM was on the internet,
it's there forever.
Yep, exactly.
You'll never get rid of it.
Exactly.
Shouts out to romhustler.net. No, I'm just kidding. That's my source. No, I'm just kidding. It is, but I don't advocate it out loud. So let's go ahead and move on from Nintendo. I feel like we talked about those guys enough for 1 week. Next up in the news, NBA 2K19 is having issues.
Yeah, so this is the second year in a row 2K has run into problems. Last year was the pay-for-play issue, where to actually Mount Lover to actually progress, you had to put 1 million hours in.
Oh Lord!
So, but this year, apparently they have issues with people losing in-game currency, losing progression, games that don't finish. You get to 0-0 and the game just goes on and on and on. If your My Career files are being random, they're having all kinds of issues. And apparently, like you try to call in. I mean, you reach out to the
customer
service, and it's like a week before they can get out.
Oh my god!
So this is a problem. And 2K19, this is a bad time for them to be having these problems, because before last year, they were the only ones on the block.
Yeah, there was no other basketball simulation games.
Right. EA's come back fast and furious, pushing them with the NBA Live, which isn't bad. I mean, it's a lot of issues with that, but the thing is, their game works, and this one doesn't.
Yeah. I was like, since when did it get hard? It gets so hard to make sports games. I mean, god dang, man. You would think because they release these things every year and they don't upgrade the engine for like 3 or 4 years at a time, that it would be a pretty seamless transition from one year to the next. But, anybody will tell you that NBA 2K18, had its own problems. So I don't know, man. If you're calling in or you're using the online service to send in a ticket, don't expect a response, my boy.
Anytime soon. Yeah, that sucks, because one, NBA 2K is very popular. It's very popular.
Is. And people love it. It's the top dog in basketball. Two,
they have an esports league. So this doesn't bode well. This doesn't bode well for that. And so, I mean, there's a lot of issues with this game not working. And I'm sure they have a specific or a custom build for the 2K League. I'm sure they do. But
they better.
They can't. You can't do this. You can't release a game broke like that. And this reminds me of the issue I had with 2K way back. So it would have been, when did Xbox came out? Xbox One came out in 2015. Right?
15, 14?
Yeah. Something like that. So that year, 2K, I think I brought 2K, is 2K14 or 2K15. I had the same issue. Where
that shit came out 2013. Never mind.
So it was NBA 2K14.
Okay.
That's the last one I purchased. And I had the same issue. It deleted all of my progress and deleted my in-game currency. And I had to open a ticket. And after about 3 or 4 days, they fixed it. And they actually didn't fix it. What they did is they gave me credits to go to the marketplace and buy more virtual currency, and they also gave me a free game, which I happened to be Evolve. That was a bad choice, but it was supposed to be all. That was the next big thing, right? But yeah. So, and after that, I hadn't bought a 2K basketball game since. I
haven't bought a 2K basketball game since they stopped with the ESPN moniker. I believe that was 2K.
Like 2008.
Yeah, 2008, something like that. Because I grew up a Dreamcast guy, and the 2K series originated on the Sega Dreamcast. So I played 2K 1, 2, and 3 on Dreamcast. Dreamcast died. Sega sold the rights to Take-Two, and then I played on the Xbox line of consoles up until about 2008. That was the last one I played. I was done.
I haven't bought a 2K basketball.
Since Mount Lover with the jokes, I appreciate it. But yeah, man, this is terrible. It does not bode well for 2K, because they cannot make a football game. They haven't been able to make a football game since EA got the exclusive rights. So this is their only sports simulation title. This is the only one that they have. And they've been the only ones doing it for so long. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why competition is needed, because now people have options. 2K is broken, I'm gonna get NBA Live.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're bought this on Steam will typically refund you if your game is broken, no matter how long you've played it. If you're having problems with the game and they're documented problems, so you can go right now to Steam and say, hey, look, 2K19 is broken, it's got all these problems, I don't want it anymore. You could, and typically they do it on a case-by-case basis, but typically they'll refund you the money for that.
Right.
And it'd be easy for somebody to say, hey, look, I don't want this, and I'll give me credit, or let me get NBA Live or whatever else I want to say, because this is just not working out for me.
Right.
So yeah, it's a problem, man. Like I said, it's the worst time. The past 2 years, they've had major problems with the 2K game, and it's been the past 2 years where EA has actually put a viable competitor.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Hopefully they come out with a fix, but I mean, with all of the issues going around with 2K trying to appease to people to freaking contact their government so that they can re-add loot boxes. Like I have
disgusting.
It's disgusting, and I haven't been a fan in a long time, and I will no longer be a fan. I do want to ask Yanni, my younger brother, what he thinks about it, because he's an avid 2K supporter. So I'll have to ask him what his thoughts are. I'll have that report for you guys on next week's podcast. We'll get an update from Yanni on his thoughts on 2K, because I know he has it.